Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talking Points. Now, as you know by now, each week we tackle the questions you want to ask about investment, tax, precious metals, and lots more. As always, you're always welcome to ask any questions you may have regarding the topic and interact with our expert and share your opinions. Now, if you're watching live on YouTube, then you can add your questions onto the YouTube chat box and we'll get to as many of them as possible. We'll also give you an email address at the end for you to get in touch after the show. As always, we are reliant on the internet, so for if whatever reason we are cut off during the live recording or the audio and visual quality is not great, we do apologize. My name is Damien Anderson, and today we're going to be talking about something that is tangible, so you can see it, you can feel it, and you can definitely love it. Of course, we are talking about silver. Now, if you've been following this series and you've been to a Wealth Masters webinar or seminar, then you would have learned of how to create wealth. And as many of you know, making the wealth is the easy part, but keeping the wealth, that's where it gets difficult. So what do? Well, besides ensuring that your investments are in the correct structure, Wealth Masters also helps you create ways in which you can invest your cash to ensure long-term protection and avoid paying too much tax. Now, I'm sure many of you have already heard of or even invested in precious metals yourself, gold being one of the major ones. But have you ever considered in investing in silver? Well, today we're going to find out the details and the good and bad of investing in silver and see why silver is no longer seen as the second best. Our expert today is a man who started his career working with his father in the friendly local grocer, and that's where his business roots began to sprout many years ago. From working with his father to owning stores, to becoming a franchise owner, to bringing international brands to South Africa, he has had the opportunity to work with people from all walks of life. And having had the opportunity to meet him a couple of times, I can assure you that he treats each and every person who he comes across with equal respect and dignity. He's one of the most successful network marketers in South Africa, working across coaching and leadership development industries, including network marketing, internet marketing, leadership development, franchising, lecturing, and get this, he does all of this by working according to the principles of a 4-hour work week. A man who has more energy and zest for life than I've seen in a long time. Please help me welcome Tony de Gouveia.
Oh, my. Damien, that is one of the best introductions that I have had in a long time in it. So thank you so much. That's very kind of you in that. And guys, it's a great honor for me to be on this podcast or TV show or our own TV show in it. So Damien, once again, thanks for the invite. I've been looking so forward for this interview and sharing some of my ideas and thoughts and adding value to our listeners in that. So great honor to be here on this call with you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tony, for taking time. And I know, like I said, you believe in the 4-hour work week model. So I'm glad we get the privilege of just getting 30 minutes of that today. But before we begin, just tell us what drives you and keeps you motivated to do everything you do and to keep that amazing energy and motivation every day.
Damien, it's one of my questions that my wife also keeps asking me. And she always said, when are you going to switch off? You know, when are you going to go calm down? I think I just have a love for business. Damien, you were talking about my late dad, and my late dad has already passed away more than 23 years ago. But I come from a small town called Koppies, which is a small Free State plattelanddorpie, and we were the only Portuguese family in that little town. And I still remember, even when I was a kid, Damien, everybody went to school and everybody was playing rugby and doing the netball things. But I was always willing and dealing, I was always taking the orders for the chips and the Russians and the fish, So guys, can I take some orders? And I would arrange for my mom at the cafe to prepare some parcels for us. And then in between breaks, poser, I would quickly run to the shop, which is like 10 minutes away from the school, quickly run, pick up the orders and bring it back and give it to the high school kids. So I think business has just been in my blood. Entrepreneurship has just been in my blood. And, coming from a thinking of we have to work for money, because that's how I grew up in a Portuguese family. We have to work hard for our money. And then later on in life as an entrepreneur, started attending events and seminars and workshops, and then started to getting involved with other people, like one of our big friends and business partners and colleague of us is Mr. Kurt Coetzee. I started meeting those kind of people. And then I started understanding it's not about working hard anymore, it's about working smart. So, and that then just took a whole new spiel. And that's what has happened this past 10 years, because I've moved away from the traditional working in stores and working in traditional businesses, but going on to another way of doing business, which is what we're doing today, all online. And how amazing is this? So it's a whole new field. And to think that a small guy from Koppies, Damien, today, we are international world travelers, we're international speakers, trainers, and the whole world is actually our oyster now, where we can do business anywhere in the world. And I think that's what excites me, that we can go from a small thing, and in our head, we can just go and create whatever we want to create. And I think that's why I will always keep on doing this, because I always joke with Kurt, I said, don't put the two of us together. If you put Kurt and me together and you just leave us for half an hour, trust me, we will think about something to create in the next few months. And and I think that's what I love it. I love creating stuff and adding value to our teams, and just making sure that people can get what I call financial independent, and that's just controlling your money, thinking about your money, and protecting and growing your wealth and that. So I think that's what we get to achieve here.
Awesome. So now, Tony, of course, today we are talking about silver. So while I was doing my research, I found that there is no word in the English language that actually rhymes with silver, which I never knew. So if anybody is watching on YouTube and they can think of something that rhymes with silver, please just add it in the chat box. Let's see what they come up with. But now I'm getting down to the real nitty-gritty. You've had the opportunity to work across many industries and business sectors. So at what point did you look at trading stocks and say, hold on, look at the value of silver, I should invest in that?
Well, I can't take all the credit for what's happening now with silver, Damien. One of the big credits also goes to Kurt, because Kurt has always nudged me in the direction of, because we love precious metals. I mean, myself and Kurt, we've been in precious metal. I mean, I've been in precious metals when my dad was buying Krugerrands, gold Krugerrands, and I had lunch with my mom yesterday, Damien, and she reminded me that, she said, do you still remember when your dad bought 20 Krugerrands when you were 18 years old or 12 years old? I said, yes, I can remember. Can you remember how much your dad paid? Can you remember how much dad paid for it? I asked. And she said, can you believe it? 250 Rand. She still remembers. He paid 200. My dad paid 250 Rand for a Krugerrand, and that's many, many years ago. And today, I showed her it's about 34,000 Rand for a Krugerrand. So obviously, we've always thought about it, but never ever did we actually think we are going to be a big player in this industry. And because Kurt and myself, we've been in precious metals for many, many years now. And Kurt always told me, Tony, there's a gap. We are missing something. There's something that we are not, the last puzzle in our formula. And Kurt always says, Tony, take silver seriously. And Damien, I must be honest with you. In the beginning, I was focusing on the crypto and I'm focusing on the gold, because for me, that was what I was, interested in. And then, like, miracles always happen, and you get the right people together. And Kurt just nudged again, and you know how Kurt is. He just drops the little pennies, drops a little seed, and it grows. And the next time he'll just add a bit more water. And then beginning of this year, things fell in place. One of my business partners that I have known for many, many years from school time, connected us again, and we got involved. And they run a refinery in South Africa. And so they had the refinery, and we were talking. And then Kurt says, Tony, take silver seriously, because that's the last missing puzzle. And I think that is when the penny dropped for me, because, we've got everything. We've already in our portfolio that we are running with Wealth Masters. We're already into crypto. We're already into gold. We're already into property. And as Robert Kiyosaki says, gold, silver, property, and then later on crypto because of us, and that was a missing link that we needed. And so I'm very, very excited about this, because in all these years of us doing business, we finally took the last puzzle, which is the silver, and we have now put it into our portfolio, but we've cut out all the middlemen. There's no middleman. we are connected directly to the refinery, which is our business partner. And then we as a community in Wealth Masters, and we get to participate and get into silver at the best possible price in the industry. So that for me is amazing, because there is no other product or no other commodity that we have that makes it that unique for us.
Sure. Tony, now what sort of silver do you believe in investing in? I mean, I've seen that you get a lot of compositions with different, some of them have copper and some of them have that. Which one do you believe in investing in as the best option?
Well, if you had asked me that question 10, 20 years ago when I was still in retail and I didn't understand it, I would have told you, let's buy coins, let's buy a Kruger Rand, because that's what the normal guy in the street knows. And that's how they could think, okay, I can't afford to buy a kilogram, but I will be able to buy a medallion. And that's what most people, would think of. But as you start educating ourselves, and guys, this has taken us years to get this experience and to get this insights of this industry. A medallion never actually belongs to you. And a lot of people don't know that. Even if you bought a Kruger Rand and you are the holder of that Kruger Rand, you are just a bearer of the Kruger Rand. And what does it mean? A bearer. A bearer means like it's the 100 Rand note. Although you work for the 100 Rand note, it's in your pocket, your wallet, but you are not the owner of that. The Reserve Bank, the one that printed the note or the one that minted the medallion, he's actually the owner of that, and they can recall it back. Now, a lot of people don't know that, and a lot of people will actually be surprised to hear that if you've got a medallion, if you've got a Kruger Rand and it's in the safe, although you paid for it, it's there, but anybody can call it back. The government could call it back. The Reserve Bank, they can call it back. And don't think it's never happened. It's already happened in our 100 years of lifetime, in not just in South Africa, but in America and anywhere in the world. So for that reason, and especially for us that are trying to protect our wealth, we stay away from medallions. We do not buy Kruger Rands. We only focus on bullion bars, which is, like what we've got now in our community, a 1 ounce, a 3 ounce, and a 32 ounce bullion bar. And for us, that is the best value because we are the custodian. We are the owner of that bar. Nobody can confiscate it from us. Nobody can put a law or a rule in place to recall that from us and that. And I think once we understand that fundamentals, it's so important. So today, I do not invest in, or I don't put my money into Kruger Rands or any other medallion. I only put my money into bullion bars because if I have to liquidate it, that's when I guess my best value and I don't have any inflation or inflated value onto that specific commodity.
Sure, you mentioned the bullion bars. I've actually got one here. I'm very excited. Amazing. It's got a little Bullion Masters logo and everything there. So it's really a fantastic thing to have. And I know people always want to buy the pretty Kruger Rands and whatnot, and it looks beautifully minted. But like you say, there's that massive risk that I think a lot of people don't realize when buying it because it's not something they actually ever tell you, which is a little bit of a scary thing. But I'm glad we can educate people in this way. And now, Tony, tell me, in your opinion, does silver really hold its value as well as other investment options? Let's say for crypto, for instance.
Well, every commodity has got its unique role. What's interesting about silver this year, silver's actually outgrown gold. Can you believe it? So the growth in silver this year, and this is now, if you're watching the recording, this is now recording, we are in September 2020. And as of this year, look, gold has done well this year. But surprisingly, silver has outgrown gold in percentage in it. And the reason for that, Damien, is because silver, and I like the way you quoted today, the show, because we always thought about the silver as the ugly duckling, or the sister that you don't want to talk about. But I think because the silver has been so much undervalued and it's been so much suppressed in the open market that for us that are interested in accumulating more wealth, silver has got a great growth percentage-wise comparing to other commodities in the industry. And so, yes, there's a risk to everything in the industry. But, I mean, in our portfolio, that's what we believe in. We always diversify between That's what we are doing in crypto and gold and silver. And for us, silver currently has got one of the best percentage growth, and it's set to have more better growth in the industry for the next years to come. So we're very excited about silver.
Amazing. And Tony, do you think that there's a constant need or demand for silver that'll give the potential investors peace of mind in knowing that this is a solid investment option?
Well, look, I'm not the most technical person in the industry, but what I can tell you is that silver is still, although we see it as a precious metal, silver is still being used in the industrial industry, for a lot of functionality. So they need it for electricity, they need it for equipment. So it's still and more than gold, because you don't use gold. Gold is just something we put away in the safe, you know. And then some electronics still use a little bit of gold, but silver itself, in the industrial industry, there's a big usage and demand for it. So just for that reason alone, you know, I'm happy and I'm glad I can move my money into silver. And today I don't have to go and look for someone else. You know, we've got it in our own portfolio, we've got it in our own groups of companies, and we're bringing the best value of silver, value in gold, in dollar price or rand price, in fiat currency price. We bring the best value to our community. So yes, there will always be a big demand for silver, and we're catching it right on the bottom, where we are seeing the prices of silver increasing now all over the world. And that, so our timing to start with silver, Damien, we couldn't have chosen a better time to start.
And it's funny enough you mentioned about the industrial use, because again, while I was researching, I didn't realize that the back windscreen or the back screen of a car, those little things that keeps the window from misting up, that actually has silver in it. It's used in so many applications. And also what I realized is that silver objects actually have been found dating back to 4000 BC. And they think it was still discovered 1,000 years before that. So now if you ask me, you know, something that has had value for that long, I sort of also have that peace of mind that knowing for many years to come, it'll still have quite a lot of value. And Absolutely. Speaking of the value, how dependent is the value of silver on the fluctuation of the dollar?
Look, if you speak to the experts in the industry, and I follow people like Mike Maloney, you know, they are big experts in the industry of silver. If you listen to those guys, they will tell you that silver is highly undervalued. It's suppressed, you know, by the industry. The true value of silver, we should have seen it at 10x, 20x already by now, but it's not. So yes, it's connected to the dollar, but there's a lot of price manipulation going on. And once again, you know, that's where we're doing our work with education and doing webinars, is to educate the community about the true value of silver. And when you are looking at silver, you know, don't look at the jewelry, don't look at the medallions, but rather come and focus on the bullion bars, because then you're getting the best price possible for the silver that you can get out in the industry. Now, Damien, if we can educate, if we can keep on educating, and that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years, is educating not just myself, but everybody else around me. If we can keep on educating and we can bring people's awareness about the power of value, the power of silver, and the value that silver has been actually suppressed, then it's a good entry point for us to get and protect our wealth. Because if we can get into silver at the prices where it is now, which is suppressed, and by the time, and guys, this is not going to happen in the next 3 months or 6 months, but this will definitely happen in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So we are long-term investors. We look at the long-term cycle of this, and we're looking at rather putting our money in a savings account in fiat, rand, dollars, euros. We rather move that into an asset class that we have control, that we know 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you know, I've outbeaten the inflation and the industry. So yes, it's connected to the dollar, but remember this, Damien, it's very much suppressed. And that's a big topic in the industry of gold, but it's been there that discussion has been there for many years and that. But, you know, I think that's where we as educators come in. Let's educate the people. Let them start taking their own decisions, and then we will empower people. And as people get empowered, they will start understanding the true value of silver. And Damien, the last thing of this, the true value of silver is not the price that you see on an exchange. The true value of silver is the day when your fiat currency is devalued and you don't have a buying power, then you see the buying power of silver, because that's the one thing that will hold value.
Sure. And Tony, now obviously a lot of people look at the dollar as the be all and end all of how things work in business. But do you think that in South Africa, the value of silver is sort of keeping up with the global trends?
Yes, because it doesn't matter in which country you go, Damien. Even in South Africa, although we are rand-based, everything goes back to the spot price of silver. And the spot price of silver is, showed against the dollar. And then obviously we have to do our conversion and that. So yes, even in South Africa, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, it's still connected to the dollar. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. But for us, it's a good thing because we are international entrepreneurs, we're international businessmen. So although we are South African based, a lot of our customers and a lot of our community is outside of South Africa. Yeah. So, but yes, it's connected to the dollar. But that's also one way for us in South Africa to hedge ourselves against the devaluation of the rand against the dollar, and that's one way of us moving into silver to help us, buffer that devaluation of the rand.
And now, somewhere where South Africa differentiates ourselves from the rest of the world is we have a wonderful industry of crime. And if you're looking at that now as an investor, how do you physically keep your products safe from burglaries at home? I mean, I know you can have a safe and all of that, but is it really that safe to keep these things at home as an investor?
Well, I speak out of personal experience, Damien, because I come from retail, and many, many years ago, that's also one of the reasons I left retail, because we were armed robbery. We had an armed robbery at home. And because people know that you are in retail, they know that you're in cash all the time. And so I had, unfortunately, and luckily for me, touch wood, nothing happened to myself and my mom and our family, nothing bad. But it was a very traumatic experience for us and we had, we lost all the gold and all the money and all the silver that we had in our safe, and that was taken away from us. So one of the big reasons, and I think that's one of the big reasons I do what I do today, so although I love precious metals, although I'm into this, guess how much of that I've got at me personally at home? Zero. I don't carry any of that. Look, I've got my sample, like you've got your sample of the silver bar. I've got one in my suitcase that I show people, but I don't have any of the silver or the gold or any of the stuff with us at home. And that's for the reason of security. Now, one of the reasons we've been looking for a solution for us as people that are saving into this is how can we put a system in place where we can protect our precious metals and we can protect our assets without owning. And that's what we've come to the market with. We've come with solutions with our business partners where we have our gold and our silver and our assets on different platforms or on safe vaults that is renting services to us. And that's a solution we've brought to the market now. So, and by a click of a button, I mean, Damien, that's one of the most powerful things. I was showing that to my mom yesterday, is I can log into a website, click a button, and I can liquidate my assets. If I talk assets, I'm talking about my precious metals. I can liquidate it. I can move it. I can take delivery of it by pressing a little button. I don't have to call a call agent or an agent. I just log into a website, press, I want 1 kilo delivered to me, or I want 1 kilo liquidated back into rands or back into Bitcoins or back into whatever I want, or back into my card, and I can go and buy bread and milk tomorrow. So once again, we brought a turnkey operation to this commodity asset in the industry, and that's the solution we brought to the team.
Now, you mentioned the liquidating. Do you feel that silver is more valuable to you if you hold on to it as a product for many, many years, or if you use it on a platform to trade and say, sell it here, buy more there? Which do you think is the more profitable, if you put it that way?
Well, I'll first give you my mindset. When I buy this stuff, I don't buy it with the intention of selling it tomorrow. So I'm getting into precious metals like silver with a long-term strategy, long-term gain. But although that is my mindset, guess what we've also put in place now, Damien, and that makes us very, very unique in the industry. With our turnkey operation that we have put into our team in place, we have gotten to a solution that, although I've got a long-term view, we have got a system in place where we can take profit. So if I bought silver now, and Damien, let's say by next week I see that the price of silver has given me 10 or 20%, guess what I can do? I can liquidate, take the profit, that 5 or 10 or 20%, and that becomes cash flow for me. Do you understand? And I can take the capital, move it back into silver, go and buy it from our refinery, bring it back, because we can create cash flow. So this has helped me to change or adapt my long-term strategy, because in long-term strategy, we can only cash out in the future when the price goes through the roof. Do you understand? Maybe 5 years, 10 years from now. But with the turnkey operation that we've got in place now, we also allow us as a community to help to generate cash flow for us. And I think that is what makes us very, very unique, because there is no one else in the industry that has put this model to the industry and to put it in place. And once again, we couldn't have done it alone. We had to add our business partners, and we're very grateful for our business partners. But because of the solid track record that we have with our business partners, you know, we've come to the market with the solution of long term. Yes, it's hedging us, but if there's ability to take cash flow, to take profit, guess what we do? We take it. So I would believe, Damien, there's a little bit of Portuguese blood in every one of us. If we can make a bit of money, let's make that bit of money of it.
Now, speaking of money, I think a lot of people have this idea that, you know, buying gold and silver and all of that, it's an expensive activity or investment. How cost effective or easy is it for someone to start out to buy some silver?
Once again, I think a great question, but once again, that is why I'm excited about what I'm doing, because I get to see people, I get to look people in their eyes, and I get to speak to people about what we do. And the first thing they go into their heads and they say, Tony, I don't know why you're talking to me, because I can't afford it. It's too expensive. And then I tell them, listen, Damien, if I could show you a way on how you can take less than $1,000, you can take 500 Rand and move it into assets, into commodities like silver, would you be interested in doing that? And then a guy would say, what? For less than 500 Rand, I can get into silver? That's impossible. And yes, so I think a lot of people think it's impossible to get involved with precious metal like silver. But with what we've put in place, you know, anybody, doesn't matter who you are, you know, if you've got 100 Rand, if you've got 500 Rand, if you've got $1,000, you can move into silver. And we will show you how you can save it for hedging against the inflation, or how you can help you to generate some cash flow for you, you know, I always say to put bread and milk back on the table. So, yeah, so I think that what we've put in place here with Bullion Masters, with what we've done for our team, is to help anybody, doesn't matter where you come from. And even if you think you can't afford it, then this is for you, because we've made it possible for anybody to afford silver, and anybody can buy it.
I mean, Tony, when you put it that way, it seems so achievable, because while you were talking, I was just doing a calculation in my head. Every day I wake up, I go for a little walk, and I buy a cappuccino, and that's 30 Rand a day. Now, if I do that over a month, that's almost just under 1,000 Rand a month that I'm spending on coffee, which to me at the time doesn't seem like a lot. But now if I can take that and rather invest it, I mean, it's a no-brainer almost to, you know, think instead of doing this, let's put something into a future plan. So, I mean, you mentioned
it's frightening. It's frightening when people think about this. But Damien, it's like you said, if you can just buy, how much is a cappuccino costing you? 20, $30? Am I right?
30 Rand get down.
30 Rand. But now listen to this. Once people are part of our community and they bought their first silver and they moved it into our business, into our partner platforms, Damien, you can literally get into silver with 30 Rand. Can you believe it? Think about it. If I could show you a way where you can buy silver instead of buying a cappuccino every day, where you can take 30 Rand every day and buy silver, a portion of a gram of silver, and move it into your portfolio. I mean, how many silver would you like to buy like that? As many as possible, eh? So, and I think that is what we've made possible for everyone. We've made it possible that just look at, instead of buying cappuccino, like you said, instead of buying silver, and you buy it every day. guess what? Once you pour that cappuccino and you've drank it, you've got nothing left. But once you've taken that same 30 Rand and you've moved it into silver, the next day you've got another 30 Rand of silver, another 30 Rand. By the end of the month, you might have 1,000, 2,000 Rand worth of silver accumulated. And that just changes everybody's mindset. And that is how we've helped a lot of people in our community to become, like I call it, financial independent. You know, they become, they create the financial IQ to start creating their wealth and protecting their wealth.
I think as of tomorrow, I'm going to stop coffee completely and just drink water from now on, putting it all into silver. Tony, you also mentioned that, you know, we have local partners and stuff. Can you just tell us a little bit about who they are and how we are working with them?
Yeah, well, we've got, look, the secret to our success, Damien, it's our partnerships. You know, everybody think, oh, it's Tony that did it or Kurt that did it. No, guys, it's not one person. This thing wouldn't have happened because of one person. This thing happens because of years and years of business relationships. I mean, if you just look at Kurt and my relationship, our relationship started 17 years ago, where I actually attended one of Kurt's first seminars in Rivonia at F&B Conference Center. And I saw him there. I still had my franchise. I still was in Spars and Pick and Pays at that time. And that relationship became into a friendship, and later on became into a business partnership. So our secret formula, firstly, is our long-term business and friendship relationships that we've created with people in the industry. And one of those business partner platforms that we have is an exchange platform which is called Alcoin Trader. So Alcoin Trader is one of the top crypto exchanges in South Africa, and we've partnered up with them where we can take our silver, you know, deposit it in at Alcoin Trader. They vault it for us, so there's no holding fees for me, which is amazing. You know, so there's no cost for you in holding the silver, and then they give it to you in a digital signature, which is in a crypto, and then you can trade it, you can hold it, you can do whatever. And then obviously, you know, behind the scene, I teach everybody how to create cash flow out of that, you know. So, and that's one of the partners out of many partners that we have in place. And there's some new announcements coming very, very soon. Within the next 3-4 weeks, you know, I'm going to make a big announcement again, how we're going to take our silver community liquidation process to the next level. So we're always constantly working on our relationships in the industry, and that makes us very, very unique, because we solve the problem where a lot of people think it's impossible. We make it possible, you know. So, and once again, that's just because of our business relationships that we've got with leading guys in the industry.
Now, Tony, I think a lot of people are actually salivating at the thought of investing in silver after everything you've told us. How can they get in touch with you or with Bullion Masters to start that process to get going as an investor?
Well, it's very easy. You just go to the website called bullionmasters.com. That website is for us as a community. So you just go and register. You know, once you've registered, you'll get your login details. And in the back office, once you've logged in, you will obviously see the prices of our silver. Now, guys, I want you to do yourself a favor. Once you've seen the prices of the silver, listen to me, try and get silver anywhere else in South Africa at that price. And then you'll see why we are so unique, because we have, with our partnerships in the industry, brought to the table for us as a community the best pricing of silver in South Africa. And I'm very careful to say, but I'm soon going to be saying in the world. You know, we're getting there because we are picking up volumes, and very, very soon I will be making a big, bold statement that we are going to be one of the top leading silver distributors, not just in South Africa, but in the world as well.
Well, I'm sure you got everybody very excited, and unfortunately we've run out of time. I mean, I could sit and talk to you for hours about this. But if anybody's watching and they'd like to learn more about wealth creation, you can join us on the 3rd of October for a full day live webinar. And this one is going to be completely free if you're joining in online as the webinar. The webinar is going to cover everything from building, managing, and keeping your wealth. And Tony, you're going to be there as well, presenting on Silver Billion. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm very excited about that, because at that event, Damien, I'm actually going to be spending time and teaching you guys all about the cash flow. you know, how we can take this commodity of silver, which is a long-term strategy for us, but how we can turn it into cash flow. And we are the only ones in the industry that's got the full circle platform that allows you to do that with a press of a button. You know, use the finger and press a button and you create stuff out of the internet for yourself. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time on that. I'm going to encourage all of you guys, register for that webinar. Like Damien says, it's going to be free for all of you. So just register, be on that. It's going to be a lot of content, but guys, you will never ever switch off this powerful tool that you've got between your head. And that is what you need to know. That is how you start empowering yourself. Get the knowledge on how the wealthy people make money. And once you've got that wealth, guess who can take it away from you? Nobody. So I'm looking forward to spending time with you guys on that webinar. Thanks, Damien.
So can make sure, guys, you don't miss out. There's only a limited number of tickets available. There have already been a lot that have been sold. So if you want to book your spot, visit www.wealthmastersclub.com. And on the homepage to the right, there's a link for you to book your tickets. Now, please also share this video with anyone in your circle who invests and start investing together. Because, you know, challenge one another and see who can have the most impressive silver bullion investment portfolio within a year. I mean, after all, you start with the same value, but it's all about growing together and sharing and working and sharing the knowledge. All of these videos will be in the Talking Points playlist on the Wealth Masters TV YouTube channel for you to enjoy and to learn from. So please also like and subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified next week about the upcoming chat. Now, we have had a couple of questions that come in, but we've unfortunately run out of time. So please go on to the wealthmastersclub.com website, and there's a link there that you can send an email and we'll get back to you with all the information. Thank you once again for tuning in. And Tony, thank you for giving 30 minutes of your 4-hour work week. And we will see you at the next webinar.
Thank you. I'm looking forward, and thanks for the invite for this. I really enjoyed spending time with you guys. See you guys on the next webinar, the next video, and the next TV show.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Cheers, everybody.